Howdy, folks. Welcome back to Whims of the Creator. I am your host, J3 Puff, and I am joined once again by Gadget.
Little red Corvette.
and, and Des.
Orega Sobuk. I just wanted to do a JoJo quote.
Gotcha. It's red. We're starting with Carlos Santana.
It's red.
Good way to
Woo!
start.
You know, I went and saw King Crimson in DC last week, and they played a song called Red.
Why didn't you make the meme off of that one then, or your intro off of that one?
Because that's too long.
Yeah, that's fair. Just ask Epitaph for it. All right, so this is Carlos Santana, 1500. On play, top 2 rearrange, and then also A1 pitch 1. Choose a guitar hero from when return to the hand. Choose one of the other guitar hero characters that gets 1k power till end of turn. Very straightforward.
I still don't know why this is a double rare. Like, I get that it's a double rare in some other set that you pulled this off of, but like, this isn't the Hades from Mirrorverse. It's just like a generic top 2 rearrange and drop salvage. Like, this probably could have been a rare, especially considering there's like some of those green cards we looked at definitely could have been double rares. Like the Shirley combo or the Kurt Cobain JC, you could have made those double rares. I don't know. This card's like fine as a one of, but there's a card we'll be talking about in 3 slides that completely invalidates it. So it's like here for me.
Yeah, I mean it's Kakyoin from JoJo. I mean that's what it's based on. It's just, yeah, I mean Carlos Santana, you know, definitely a legend. Man is just really good at the guitar. He can shred it.
He's smooth.
Yeah.
All right.
Next. All right, so this is the most like Desmond card in this set. It's if people remember the old Assassin's Creed set, like that fucking card had like 4 lines of text on it. What's crazy is like this card has 4 lines of text, but it's actually balanced correctly. I just think it's a little bit unworldly. This is Warrior Judy. She's a 3/2 with 2 soul and 8,500 power. If you have 2 or less climax in your waiting room, you can early play her. She gains 1k power for each guitar hero or warrior in your backstage. On play, you can ditch one to heal the stock. And then at the beginning of your climax phase, you can resonate the Judy Nails, which is a brainstorm. If you do, she gets 500 power, the color green, and the following ability until end of turn. When her level 2 or higher battle opponent becomes reversed, you can pay 1 to choose a level 1 or higher character in your waiting room. Return to hand.
Card. Not character.
Card.
You can grab
events.
Yeah.
Yeah. This peaks at 11k. It's like 10-5 cross turns, pretty good. I do believe it's correctly budgeted for what it is, but it's just like it's so much fucking text.
It's definitely double rare. It's definitely double rare worthy.
Yeah, funny enough, I would say the framework of this card was based off of Power. I've been using Power a lot as a framework and like other characters from Chainsaw Man. I mean, I figured try to make something with Resonate off of her, you know. And I also wanted like essentially like tweak Power to do something a little bit like maybe just a tad bit different and just a little bit better. I just figured like just do something to make it a little bit just maybe a tad bit better because I will say whenever I play the Power early play, I almost rarely like use it, especially the last effect, just because I feel like I never really needed to use it, especially particularly like whenever I play Chainsaw Man, I'm always just playing Makima like 9 times out of 10 to bully people. Yeah. But I digress.
We haven't talked about it yet, but freaking dropping Makima and bullying people is what got you a top 8 at a regional. So like, yeah. You know.
That is true. That is very true. It's crazy how many times I won off of Makima alone when I'm supposed to be playing my Chainsaw Man finisher. I'm like, I swear this is a Chainsaw Man deck, but I just kill people with Makima apparently. And that's all I really need sometimes. But I digress. Just overall, very good card. And this is probably one of the few warrior cards I didn't really put on flavor that much, with the exception of the Resonate, mainly just due to the fact that I would say, honestly, out of the warrior abilities, she probably has the worst one, because hers is definitely the most nothing burger, because her ability is just crowd hyper. That's the one that I mentioned a bunch of times, that like when you literally start the song, your rock meter is basically filled in 100% at green. So it's just like, cool, I start at green. Sure. If you're good at the game, you were going to get to green anyways, regardless. So her ability is basically the most nothing burger ability in the game. So it's just kind of like, why is this here? Like it's practically pointless. It's just this ability is not needed. So getting some kind of quote unquote flavor with her was basically not possible. I guess maybe the flavor is from the fact that you get color green from her as a reference, but that's the closest. That's kind of a bit of a stretch.
A little bit, yeah. Her design also is just like crazy. Can we talk about like the? She's got the one winged angel thing going on, but then her other arm is just like made out of bone spikes.
Yeah, that's her concept art. She definitely doesn't look as menacing and like edgy. I would say her concept art looks cooler than the one that they use in game.
So when I sleeved up 8 bar, this was the first thing I decided to put in there as my early play of choice. It was just like 2 copies of Warrior Duty and 3 copies of the Brainstorm, because I wanted some more red for the red off finisher. We'll talk about in a little bit. And it felt pretty good. I didn't really use the resonate effect at all, but getting to be 10-5 cross turn is definitely good. I recommend it, playing it if you need the extra red. I think it's like, is it a B plus or an A minus? What did I give the Axle? I gave the Axle a B plus. So I'm gonna give Judy an A minus. I think she's a little bit better than the Axel. You don't have to resonate the Judy on play to get her effect. You can play her down and then do some other things and then brainstorm to get the Judy. Yeah, card's good.
So, fun fact: this is I think this card is actually under budget because the resonate doesn't give it more power. The resonate effects at level 3 actually kind of go insane. Like for like 500 power on this older Bang Dream card, there's this Sayo who has a 4 more early play. She's a draw 2, pitch 1 on play. And then for 500 power, when she attacks, she gets 2k until end of turn if you resonate. This is 500 and a 500 effect. So if it could actually give like 1500 power, and then swing it like, what is that?
Well,
12?
if this is based off the power is
She doesn't resonate on the thing. She's just like do the thing, and that's 5.
That's right, but she's pay 1 to salvage a character, not a level 1 or higher card.
Yeah, so
is salvage is that equal, right?
So you think
power?
You think about Azusa, traded character and level 1 or higher card are treated as equivalent for that effect.
Yeah, okay, sure. I guess it's fine then.
So yeah, I think this actually gets you to like slightly bigger. It'd be cool, fine. And then it would also be maybe a bit more motivation to actually do the resonate. There's also like resonate deal 1 damage in like Grisaya. But yeah. Anyway, we're good. Moving on.
All right,
Desmond.
All right, I get the cool card. Lou Double Form. He is the main villain for basically like the Guitar Hero series, with the exception of Warriors of Rock. So yeah, Lou Double Form. Basically, when this card is placed on the stage from your hand, reveal the top card of your deck. If that card is a Guitar Hero character, deal 1 damage to your opponent. In addition, if that card has a soul trigger on that card, you may pay the cost, which is basically discard any card. If you do, deal 2 damage instead. And then climax combo, at the end of this card's attack, you can pay 2 stock if you have Your Soul Is Mine. And if you do, replay effect, Bet with the Devil. And bet with the Devil, what it does is both players put the top 10 cards from the top of their decks into their waiting rooms. Then deal X damage to the player who has the least number of soul trigger icons revealed among those cards. X is equal to the number of climax among those cards. Only count the losing player's climax.
So both of you mill 10, and then you count the number of soul triggers that you revealed.
Yep.
And then whoever reviewed fewer soul triggers takes damage equal to the number of climaxes that were
Correct.
revealed.
Yep.
So this is important because the current text of the card doesn't say instead.
Yeah, I probably need to maybe make it a little bit. I maybe need to make it a little bit clearer on this card. But yeah, that was kind of like the idea I had with the card, was just like have like a top check ability where like top check if it's a character, deal 1. But I wanted to kind of like add like an additional effect to it where it's like, oh, if you hit a soul trigger in, kind of as a flavor to Lou, where it's like, oh, if you hit a soul trigger character, then you could ditch a card to deal 2.
I like that. I do need the instead though, because right now this is pitch 1, deal 1, deal 2 on play.
Yeah,
I can see that, because that'd be pretty busted.
Yeah, so with that minor errata, this card definitely feels on spec.
I don't actually know if the replay effect is fair or not because I haven't tested this. I was so scared to test this card at first thing because I wasn't like I knew the slash would be fine. I knew the Tom Morello, which we'll talk about later. I knew that card would be fine. I knew the Demigod would be toxic, but it would be fine. This guy, I have no idea because in theory you're just burning for X, where X is like a random number, but you're also making your opponent mill 10. So like in theory, that could be the slash burning 1 and milling 25 versus this milling 10 and then burning for like X is potentially really good. I think the biggest thing about this card is there is a 2/1 that can, when you play the Your Soul is Mine, you can put it into your stock to summon the devil form Lu from your hand. So you can theoretically play this at level 2.
Oh.
And
Right.
that is pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know if it pushes it up to S tier, but I think it's probably around A.
Yeah, you do have
Yeah.
to be kind of careful with your own deck state with this, but
Mm-hmm.
even so.
Yeah. Basically, the idea with Lu is that with the replay effect, it's supposed to kind of emulate the guitar battles from Guitar Hero 3. So since it's Lu and he likes to collect souls, both you and the opponent are basically fighting with soul triggers, basically. And then whoever has the least number of souls basically loses the game. Or not loses the game, but they lose the battle and then they have to take damage. So the idea is that kind of like, you're playing through the guitar battle, and then you mill to see who has the least number of souls, and then basically that determines who wins or loses, basically.
Yep. Should say also there are a couple incidental cards in red that have soul triggers to support the Lu. It's not as egregious as Gura, but there are like one or two that do. So this card can like potentially peak higher than you might think it does.
Yeah, it also does have some matches where it's probably gonna seriously lose to. Like Hololive is definitely a deck that can just find ways to cram Soul Triggers in, even if it's not necessarily playing Gura, because like the other things you're probably building are like Standby, which is already playing a bunch because you're playing a bunch of like standby targets. Those tend to have Soul Triggers.
But the other thing is that if you know what matchup you're playing into, you can just choose to be like
Yeah, you choose just
early
to
play
not play into it.
for the burn ones, right?
Yeah.
And then like decide based off what your opponent has in their waiting room, how like if you actually want to resolve the pay 2 because his skill is end of attack. So you can decide based on whether they canceled or not, or whether your deck state is stronger than theirs, how you want to do it.
Yeah, this would be a good finisher option for a warrior transformation early game because you can just have like our Doulahan friend Austin as your finisher as a
Yeah,
backup.
that's what I was gonna say. You could play like Pants, Stock Soul with like a bunch of warrior cards, and then have the Austin at level 3 and have this at level 2 as a push.
Yeah.
I say the Pants because that has like a soul trigger on it, which helps with the Lu. But
Right.
I guess you
Okay.
could do with the standby also if you wanted to do it that way.
Yeah, one of those two probably. Okay. I think we're good.
Yep.
All right. So before we talk about this is actually I think the best card in the set. It's not my favorite card, but I think it's the best card in the set. So JB, go ahead and read it.
When this card is placed on the stage from hand, pitch a character, draw a card. When this card is placed on the stage from your hand, Rico.
It is James Ironwood. James Ironwood, everybody.
He's also not traded character on him.
Yep.
Really
Yep.
fascinating.
Yep. I mean, he might be, but like, it's just. Hold on, I'll pull it up just to make sure.
Yeah, that would be like the one thing that I'd probably need to double check if it requires Guitar Hero or not. Even then, it still doesn't matter because every card in this set's fucking Guitar Hero.
Ditch traded character to draw, and then ditch any card to salvage any X or lower character.
Okay, so
But yeah, it doesn't matter at all. You Guitar Hero is the universal trait for this set.
Yeah, easy fix.
So like this card in Ruby is like fine. You can get even with the premium booster, it's like fine. You can get your Fuka Zero with it. You can get your Y drop surge. You can blah blah blah.
Dear God.
This set has Mio drop search.
Uh-huh.
It has the memory JC that lets you recur this. And it has another card that we're going to talk about in a long time. But like I said, it has this this power this power that lets you like shoot one of your other characters to stock. And the reason I'm bringing this all up is like with Rico's, regardless of what you top check, you can just punt whatever and get whatever 0.
Yeah.
So like if you're playing, I don't know, 8 bar, you can like play this, ditch a bar, reveal top, do the Rico, and then if it's a character you want, you can either immediately ditch the character you salvage to draw it, or you can just keep it there. You can ditch a character up front to draw, then do the Rico, and if you happen to see like, oh, I have a climax on top, cool. Now you can just brainstorm away with it, right? I've said before in other videos, I don't think this is the best Rico profile. I think the Historia from Attack on Titan is the best because that card lets you re-roll the top card of your deck if you don't like what's there. But this is just a double filter. You get to filter out a heavy character to draw a card, and then you can ditch a climax to get a character from your waiting room. And because your zeros are so cracked, you can get your Midori with this. You can get one of your clock pluses. There's a level 0 free fresh in this set. There's so many good utility cards at 0. Some of them we haven't even talked about yet. They're that are in blue. There's a helmet. There's that other card. It's the Shirley Manson that lets you return 2 characters and then salvage a different character, right? That card's pretty good. This just gets you access to all that junk and is a double filter. So like obviously I'm biased because I was playing 8 bar and then I switched to bar pants because I wanted to try Tom Morello. But like even in the choice list that Desmond was playing, this card put in work. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think Ironwood is like an S tier card, but he is S tier contextually depending on what zeros are in the set. Like, you're playing 2 or 3 of that card in Ruby for sure. And in Quince, which also has that card
Oh
was
god.
busted as hell in Standby.
Yeah.
It's like an A plus card, but in the context of this set, it's like an S because of the amount of good zeros it can get you. It's so good. It's the best card in the set. Don't at me.
Yeah, you want to talk about like multipliers. This card is a multiplier card right there.
Yeah.
Might potentially hit the custom set ban list. choose
Maybe.
one
We'll
of
see.
4 Guitar Hero.
Honestly, at some
I
point,
mean, it's.
gotta set up a custom deck tournament and like figure some shit out.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like you would think with cards this good in the set, the memory Jace you would be more playable. And yet it's honestly, for me, it's felt better to like do this, filter out 2 climaxes or like a climax and another card, play the Lou that sends that card to stock, and then just like let it sit there. Like you want this to see this throughout the game so you can like recur and like filter. But like this isn't going to win its lane. It's just going to go out there and die. We brought this up in our other video, but like sometimes with cards like this, you'll just do the effect and they'll just kind of sit there doing nothing because they're not meant to do anything. But with the Lou, you can just send it over to your stock whenever you feel like it. So you're not losing out on advantage by playing this card. When it loses its lane, you're just going to change it out for a stock. There's so many implications with this that this card just goes so hard. This is the
Yeah.
best card in the set for sure, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, it's just well-rounded card, and it's Aerosmith. I mean, Aerosmith is great band.
I'm actually surprised you didn't like make this the level 0 Aerosmith from JoJo. It's a 1500 power level 0 counter. I just think it'd be funny if you did that because it's like, haha, it's Aerosmith.
Oh yeah.
That
is funny.
Like the card is dog shit, but you would do it for flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway.
Nice card.
All right, so now we're moving on to Judy Nails. I cannot believe this card is a rare, but okay. This is your resonate target for your early play. When a climax is placed in your climax area, you get to give 500 power to 2 characters. And it is a rest self, mill 4, salvage, traded character, brainstorm. And let me tell you, this is like the salvage brainstorm in the set with a relevant second effect. So that goes right there for me.
So this card, I just based it off of Saber from Heaven's Feel Volume 2.
Right.
Yep. Pretty much verbatim.
Is that card also a single rare?
I think it might be a double rare, I think.
She's also a search, if I remember correctly.
Was she?
Yeah, God,
Yep.
I can't remember. I always get that wrong when I'm playing this deck, because it's like...
Yeah, I legit forgot. It's been a minute since I played the card, but essentially the idea behind the card was to basically base off of the Saber.
Yeah. So here's my feedback.
This
Right.
is 500
The
off.
saber is a search brainstorm for trait character, and it gives the 500 power on climax play to 2 characters. Right. Your Axel is a search brainstorm that when you mill the Axel, when you another copy of him, you get to do the other effect, right? Where you put the marker.
Yeah. Yep.
So you've got effectively the Spider-Man brainstorm on a search, which is a salvage brainstorm, and you have the Saber, which is a search brainstorm on a salvage brainstorm. For the sake, like I get you that you've done it for variety, but I almost wish for consistency you just kept it the way it was, because the problem I have with the Axle is like it's already deck slots to play it, and you're not even like I wanted to play a salvage brainstorm, so I started with the Judy. There was some other reason why I don't remember. It was like because of the markers, it makes sense to play like 4 of the Axle. I don't know. Either way, I like the Judy the best because she's a salvage brainstorm, but they're both good.
Take the trait restriction off of it, and it's on spec. Alternatively, you could have a 2K brainstorm, so you have like a thing you could just run if you need a third attacker, and you get 2
Yeah,
copies of it in hand. Either one.
because traded salvage is 500 power only.
See. Anywho, next.
All
Next.
right. Next card. All right. Lou, new contract. Basically, it's the Makima Climax Searcher in Chainsaw Man. Basically, pay 1, search your deck for a Climax, and reveal it. If you do, choose a Climax in your hand, and basically, you exchange it with the one that you search, and then put it back in your deck and shuffle it. And then beginning Climax phase, choose one of your Guitar Hero characters, and then that character gets 1,000 power. And anybody that's played Chainsaw Man, that card's really good. A good one of. So I mean, that's all I can really say about it.
So this is your other Climax swap of choice. You can choose to play the Johnny Cash, or you can play this. Obviously, I like Johnny Cash because it can sometimes get you that stock, but this card is always, always, always active. And sometimes getting that extra 1K to a character actually matters. So, really, what it's come down to is if you need more yellow cards in your set, you play Johnny Cash. If you need more red cards in your set, you play Lou. But obviously, Lou is going to be more active more of the time. So, he's getting a B plus from me because of that. That's really all there is to it.
Yeah, only thing I can really say is this is the cutscene where Lou gives Shirley Crowley the contract for her to basically work for him essentially, and then go in the recording studio and do the whole like award show thing.
Goth Girl sold her soul to the devil, man. What can you say?
Mm.
Man. Alright. Next up. It's Ricky Lee. Good. He is a sort of Ricky. Alright.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, if you have one of the gang, as described earlier, he gets yellow. If he's in the middle of your center stage, he gets 1 soul. And when he's placed on stage from your hand, you may pit the top card of your stock into your clock. If you do, search your deck for up to 1 costs your Guitar Hero character level equal to or lower than your level. Put it on any position of your stage. Shuffle your deck.
So I actually misread this card the first time. I didn't realize it was top of stock to clock. I thought it was just pay it, like put the top card of your deck into your clock, and I was like, isn't this like understated or overstated? I mean, sorry. It's fine though. So like this card is cool because it can search your Matty cans, and then they both can have their extra colors. And at level 1, you can actually summon your level 1 combo with this as well. I don't think this is like the clock plus you would play, but like because it's Ricky, it helps you give these other 3 characters their color things. And it does have that Kokoro effect where if it's in the middle, it gets a soul. That's potentially good at level 0. You could play like one of this. I've not tried it yet. In theory, it's probably like somewhere around C or C plus. But yeah, there's a lot of good targets you could. I mean, look, it's the same thing I said about the Rico, right? The Ironwood, the Steve and Joe. I call them Steve and Joe, Steven Tyler and Joe Perry. Steve and Joe, they get you any level 0s, right? This card can get you any level 0 from your deck. So for the ones that have on play effects, you want Steve and Joe to grab them out of your waiting room. For the ones that have continuous effects, like the Johnny Napalm and the Axel Stock Bomb, you can use this Ricky to go get them. And this also can get your Brainstorm. It can get your back row cards like the Maddie.
At level 1, it gets you
It's
your combo.
yeah, if you're level 1, yeah, it gets you that. It's got a couple uses. So yeah, good card.
I'm just sitting here thinking of sets that I know cannot have that set that auto effect. Just like looking at it again.
At
Yeah.
least it's not on death.
At least it's not Sokka. Yeah, dude. You
Yeah.
can have the on death version. You just have to rest them for the love of God.
The design behind this card, he's basically a hodgepodge between the Jotaro Ricky from Stardust Crusaders, and I got the idea of the +1 soul from the Aaron Searcher and Attack on Titan final season. Also part of the soul, I thought would be also a good idea to give him a soul trigger if he's in the middle, just because Ricky Lee, funny enough, he's based off of Steven Tyler when they created the character.
Yes.
So his story basically is just a matter of he's definitely narcissistic and he's definitely likes being the center of attention. He also has a very uncanny voice because like they actually show a cutscene where like when he's singing, he's able to sing so loud that he's able to like crack glass and like all these other things.
Yeah.
So basically, I figured with how powerful his voice is, probably give it like if he's in the middle, so he's like if he's in the center, so like him being like the attention, all getting all the attention, he deals more damage basically with his voice.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah,
He's just like
is he?
for real.
Have you broken glass?
Yeah.
No, but I can sing very loud.
Okay. You know what? That's fair. I can attest.
Oh yeah, that's
when
right.
when the Devils went down to Georgia.
Yeah.
Insert Ryan Gosling meme.
Man. Okay. All
I
right.
wish. All right. So I'm gonna read these next two. I actually moved this card up in the slides because I think it's relevant.
Yeah. Good call.
This is Lars Umlaut. When he attacks, choose one of your characters and it gains 1500 power. It's just a kind of a normal Shimakai effect or Shimakaze. Like I don't remember. Whatever. You pump power on attack. Whatever. And then when you play a warrior transformation climax in your climax area, you can put this card into your waiting room to choose the warrior Lars from your waiting room and put it on the same stage that he was on. So I talked about the warrior Lars in green a little bit, but he's a 2/1. If you have 4 more other Guitar Hero characters, you can actually early play this card from your hand. He gets -1 level in hand. If all your characters are Guitar Hero, he gains 1000 power, so he sits at 8k static. And then when he's placed on stage by the change effect, he gains 3k until the end of your opponent's turn. So he gets to sit at 11k cross turn, and he has this climax combo on attack. If you have a full board, you get to look at the top 2 cards of your deck, choose up to 2, keep them on top, and then put the rest to waiting room. And then you can reveal the top card of your deck, and if it's a character or an event, you get to add it to hand straight away. So, like, if you see a climax you don't want to trigger, you can just dump it, or you can put the climax down 1 card, reveal top, get the top card to your hand, and then trigger the climax. That's potentially good in, like, standby or whatever deck that you're trying to trigger climax. It's a card that pluses you. It's a bad plus, but it at least lets you, like, if you look at the top card of your deck and there's 2 climaxes there, you can send both of them away to re-roll, which is potentially cool. And then obviously the level 1 Lars can transform into this, which is just really good. I've not tested this card yet, but in theory, this card is like gas. It's potentially really good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Where did this combo come from?
All right, so here's going to be quite a story with this one. So this combo, the warrior, basically like the warrior mechanic with Lars Umlaut, this was inspired by Doppio and Diavolo from JoJo's Part 5. So Gadget probably is going to be familiar with it. So there is a Doppio
You
level
listen.
1.
I'm familiar with it, but you cooked something up here. I don't think this is.
Yeah, I'll say this. It's probably safe to say this is going to probably be most likely overspec just because the idea that I had is I wanted to take that kind of like Doppio package from Golden Wind and I kind of wanted to push it a bit because the Doppio package in Golden Wind was awful. It was just it was such a big nothing burger that was just like, okay, cool, like this does nothing because I mean let me go ahead and actually pull it up real quick just to kind of give you an idea like just how like disappointing this card was.
The Diavolo is the first card. On attack, you give a character 15, and then at the start of your climax phase, you can sacrifice him to summon the Doppio from your waiting room.
Mm-hmm.
So that's at least on spec. So what does a Doppio do again?
The Doppio, all it is, it's literally just a freaking when you play his combo on attack, Until the end of your opponent's next turn, he just gets the Aaron bounce effect. When he gets frontal attack, you just return him to your hand. He doesn't net you any plussing whatsoever.
So he's just the shittiest Obero ever. He just pluses himself.
Basically.
He
Yep.
pluses himself and gives you the option to also switch into the Diavolo at the
Only
your
if
climax phase.
Only if he lives, though. Yeah, it's only like the start of your climax phase. So he has to live back to your turn and not bounce back in order for that to actually matter.
No, you can bounce back and switch. You can
I
play
guess,
him.
but
You
like,
can
why
play
would
him
you ever?
again and switch. You wouldn't.
But why would you ever do
Which
that?
is, I
You
think,
don't
the
need
point.
Plus, during his combo, he on his own, his combo only leaves him at 55. It's really bad. But back to what I was saying, yeah. So basically, this is the combo that kind of inspired this because I was like, I want to make this work and actually like kind of push it a bit. So basically, same concept through the level 1 Lars, where you change into the 2-1. And then I would also say a little bit of this 2-1 also kind of was inspiration from the Alice early play that we obviously know from freaking the Brainstormer that can freaking early play the 2-1. So a bit of those two cards particularly kind of inspire this package here. So kind of the idea is when you get the Warrior Lars on board, you want basically the idea is that you want to try to basically get as many copies of him on board as possible. And when you do, you're able to basically sit on this board with him like as much as possible, basically.
Yeah, they're only 11K for that one turn that you change them, but
correct. Yes.
They're at least 8K static after that.
Correct. Yeah. So that's why I figured where the balancing would come from. So like make them big. If basically the card rewards you if you use the warrior mechanic for him to change into Warrior Lars. But if you just use his early play condition, then he just only goes up to really 9K, which I think is pretty like fine. Like it's nothing too overwhelming. And then across turn, he's only going to be 8K.
Okay. So, God, there's so many points of order, right? So, at base level, this card is over spec because it has 4 abilities and is a 7K, and none of them are drawbacks. So that's obviously an issue.
Hold on. All right.
Okay. Yeah. So the continuous for if the conditional power is 500. So already just those two by itself put you at budget. I feel like I need to see the how much power the Anya gives, because I feel like it's something like that, right? Like because whatever modifier the Anya has on it, and then the combo might be a 500 because it's also a level 2 combo, and like level 2 versus level 1, they get a lot more wiggle room to work with, right?
This also requires full board though.
Exactly. So like
yeah,
on top of that, and like this is literally just like top 2, like it's so weird because like it lets you rearrange the top 2, put them in winning room. Yeah, we have that as like a 1500 on play, but this is a combo doing it, so like on attack, and then also it's like that 1 plus. That's kind of like we know that like doing that twice is like a 1K combo. Doing it by itself is like a 500 combo by itself. Like, do they have cards that are just like on attack with combo? Look at up to 2 rear, like choose up to 2 from among them. Is that first effect by itself part of it a 500 combo?
I think so.
Because if it is, you don't need the board condition for that. I don't think.
I'm pulling something up really quick. So there's this card in Adventure Time on attack. If you have 2 or more other characters, reveal top 2. Your opponent chooses 1, gives them to you. You put the rest to waiting room. Even that requires 2 or more characters.
Okay, because I know that you can basically like for like a level 2 combo is like it gets like 500 basically for free, right? If you have a level 1 combo that needs like a reverse, a level 2 combo can do it without getting a reverse, that kind of thing. So, and arguably like you can like stitch 2 combos kind of together in that sense to like do something with that, something like that.
I mean, you need full board. I think with full board, this has to be 500 power, right?
It probably has to be, yeah. The Anya brainstorm that gives the other, when your other character is placed on the stage by change, that character gets 1,000 power to the end of the next turn, right? Because it has that because it's Spy Fam, so it needs to have that wording clarification.
Right.
So that's 5 That's a 1k power, so it's equal to the power it gets.
But that's another character also.
Yeah. So hypothetically, that change power might be 1500. Yeah. So.
All right. So that puts us at 7.5, 7K, 6K, 5.5, maybe 5K.
Somewhere in that range, yeah. Which would put the power back to about where a. So it'd just be like about where it would be normally for a 2-1.
I think what you can do here is you just get rid of the first line of text that lets you early play it, and you just make it so that because the Lars umlaut just changes it into it from waiting room anyway. So I think you get rid of the early play, and that lets you make this so it gets 500. It gets 1K static if you have all characters. The change effect would give it like 3K still, so that would make it sit at 10K cross turn, and then assuming the combo is 500, that would put you at 6.5 to 6K. I think that's probably way more reasonable because I don't know why you would early play this. Like, why would you never? You would never like. You would always just want to change into this, wouldn't you?
You really would.
Desmond, you've been quiet for quite a
Yeah.
while there.
It's been witnessing.
It's all. I was letting you guys kind of cook up the math. A part of me was feeling like this was probably going to be one of the most overspec cards that I made because as mentioned, I was trying to really push that Doppio package kind of in a way. I could definitely agree with the logic of like cutting out the early play. So I guess the reason why I added that early play is that my idea was like I guess I wanted to put emphasis on fielding this as much as possible. But like you could still, as you mentioned, you could still technically achieve that without having to early play it and pay one when you could just do that by doing just literally just playing the Lars. Because if you basically do that, I mean, you basically would just play easily just 4 copies of the Lars. You basically just do 4 for all 4, basically for both of them. Play 4 of the Lars, 4 warrior Lars, and you basically save yourself the stock.
Because it's not like you need to put the Lars umlaut to memory. You're just putting it deck slots in your deck to make sure you can change into this.
Correct. Yes.
All right, so I think you have to just rate these together. Like the Lars at least gives another character 1500 power if you don't have the combo. So it's probably like somewhere in here. And then this thing is like I think if we do it this way where it's like if it's a 6K or a 6.5, that's still like a 10K 10.5 cross turn at level 1. That's pretty freaking good. Off a door combo, you're getting to so much information off this when it attacks. Well, if it's a choice, this is just Alice that doesn't get you stock. Like it you know.
Yeah. Basically. Yeah.
Off pants, this is pretty good. Off pants, this is just Murin that you can early play.
Mm. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Actually, you're right. I didn't think of it that way. Actually.
So like,
minus the hexproof.
Well, this set has hexproof in it too, though, doesn't it?
It has.
Oh yeah, fair enough, fair enough. But I mean, not the global though. It's only middle hexproof. Like
okay.
just like
But you're only gonna field 2 lanes of this anyway, probably. You know.
Yeah.
I think this is like it's probably a B plus that could potentially like the other crazy thing is like you could just play this with the level 0 Casey, I guess. Yeah, Casey. And as we discussed earlier, the level 2 KC back row combo also pairs with this very well. So lots of implications there.
Mm-hmm.
Can you what's Lars's like warrior thing?
So his warrior ability is a multiplier extender, nothing really exciting. He raises your multiplier to base multiplier to 6. That's really all he does. It's nothing special. I mean, granted, yeah, he's gonna help you build up a higher score, but it's just kind of like I mentioned, a lot of the Guitar Hero characters, their abilities mostly were just extending your multiplier or star power, boosting it, and all that. Majority of it was mostly that for the sake of like boosting your score as high as possible.
Yeah.
Whereas, and due to that, a lot of the flavor can be pretty difficult to dictate sometimes.
I like that he has the Gene Simmons guitar in his warrior transformation. Like the actual battle axe guitar.
Yeah.
It like increases the floor of your triggers by letting you choose your trigger. And also like a top deck plus.
Yes.
God,
That's one way to interpret it.
God.
All right, Grim Ripper. He is basically the Death Gun and 10th anniversary SAO. When you play him from hand, real top card. If that card is a Guitar Hero character, choose one of your opponent's characters on center stage, and they get minus 6,000 power until end of turn. During this card's battle, when you cancel damage, you can return him back to your hand. Yeah, it's basically Death Gun and the Gwess from Stone Ocean.
If I had a nickel for each time I reviewed a custom set that had this card in it, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice in like a month. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's funny
Um,
I just think it's funny with the Gwess particularly, just because she's just very rude.
Oh
It's
yeah.
just like as a character in general,
For real.
and
Yeah.
it's also for flavor too because of what Google Dolls does.
Yeah, it's very fitting for her to have it. I mean, this is
Um,
death, so you know.
I haven't brewed with this card yet. Like I've said, it's a level 1. It's going to be competing with a ton of other cards for slots, but it's fine.
yeah. The only not flavor. The only fun fact I can basically say about him is that Grim Ripper is basically a character that has existed since the first game. He was removed from the series after Guitar Hero 3. Guitar Hero 3 was the last game that he was in. And also, funny enough, in Guitar Hero 3, his animations, when you pick him as a character, he copies the same animations that Tom Morello has.
Ah,
Huh.
fascinating.
For whatever reason they did that, I have no clue.
All right. Wild. Okay. Next up, this is Judy Nails from Guitar Hero 2. If you have 2 or more colors on your stage, she gets 1,000 power. If you have 3 or more, she gets the following ability: pay 1 on battle opponent reverse to search your deck for an event. Okay. Then also, when she's placed on stage from hand, you may pitch a card to level down one of your opponent's characters. So that top ability is being treated as 1k. Again, this is like Bang Dream or some shit would need to have like math for me to work off of. I think this is fine.
Yeah.
But it could be off.
I haven't tested this card either, but in theory, in the decks that are playing the Star Power event, you would want to play this. Actually, in the decks that are playing 2112, you would want to play this too. So it does have a niche. So for that, I'll give it a C+.
Just something I wanted, just another experimental card, just something to try out.
Yeah.
Basically, at best, you get an event, whether if it's the 2112 or the Star Power event, or at worst, which is not really saying much. Like at worst, you could just play it as a like generic level down card, which is still pretty good.
Yep. Agree with that.
Fair
All
enough.
right.
Next up.
Ricky. Next card is Ricky Lee Backstage. Oh man, this card makes me sad. He's a 1/0. So this one's interesting because this one checks to see if you have a character with Shirley Crowley or Marcus Fretshredder or Matty Cans in its card name. So he's actually more generically able to get the color yellow. When his battle opponent becomes reversed, if you have a climax in your climax area, you get to blind stock. This is the Yor from Spy Family. There's a couple other sets that have this card. In theory, this card's good. I've actually played it in a couple lists, but as I said before, I was playing mostly with the bar combo, and it's a lot harder to squeeze this in with the bar combo at level 1. This is probably more playable with the Lars. Unless you're playing that card that lets you play characters without fulfilling color requirement, this card becomes a lot harder to play. I wish it was better, but it's probably just a C+, honestly.
Yeah.
That's kind of been my experience with it.
Yeah.
Just generic card, not much to really say.
There's just so many better like level 1s you'd want to play that are more easily accessible than this, unfortunately, I think.
Yeah. This is like the pack filler kind of like territory here, where it's just kind of like
Also deck slots. Like if you're trying to play the 4-color deck and you're playing the bar level 1 combo and the Star Power event, that's already 2 colors you're trying to fix for at level 1, and this is just a 3rd color. Like, don't ask me how you're doing that unless you get really lucky. But again, he might be okay with the Lars. I haven't tested it yet.
Yeah. Goodness. All right. Next up.
All right, so the bassist, if you have the drummer or the singer, this card gets yellow. If all your characters are Guitar Hero, this card gets 500, and hand encore basically. Hand encore with Parade?
It's
Clock
not.
No, sorry.
Encore.
Whoops. It's actually Clock Encore.
Uh-huh.
It's 500 power and Clock Encore but you when you clock encore, it's you put it in the bottom of your clock and not top. And then when your other Guitar Hero character attacks, this card gets X power until end of turn. X is equal to the number of other Guitar Hero characters you have times 500.
If I had a nickel for the number of times we had to ask the Miko clock encore question in a set review in the past month, I would have 2 nickels. God, and this works so much better in this set because you want to have multiple colors in clock. You were just talking about needing to figure out how you'd get like 3 colors in level 1.
To be fair, I misread this card. I didn't realize it was clock encore.
Holy shit, this does so much for color fixing in this set, crazily enough. Oh,
yeah.
God. Huh.
Yeah. Also, it's a standby target.
Yeah.
Yep.
God, okay. Well,
and a set that doesn't have standby in it, knock knock.
Yeah.
Like, hello?
Yeah, it doesn't have any standby in it at all, for sure. Uh-huh. You put fucking...
So yeah, this can... I guess you can do the Hololive thing, right? Where you play your Aqua Ricky over this, and then clock encore this over the Aqua, then use the Aqua to go +1 and clock a different card, so you have 3 colors that way.
3 to 4 colors, so they could just play whatever level 1 lineup you want to, yeah. Or get yourself up to level 2 so you can... Or what's the thing that you'd early play into it?
In this deck, it would be... what do you change into at level 3? I don't think there is anything, is there?
Maybe there's not. Like, it would let you, like, set up so you could go, like, 2-0 to go into the Warrior Axle. But it's probably not worth clocking yourself to level 2 for by itself.
You don't really need to do that.
So maybe...
Oh, it's the... No, it's the Lou in red.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Because the Lou... You go to 2-0, then you play the Lou 2-1s, and then you climax combo and change them into the level 3 Lou.
Okay.
That
there
actually has the implications. Yeah. Okay.
You can run like standby 2 soul.
Yeah, which we already discussed as a potential like good thing you can do.
Yeah.
You don't even need the standby. You could afford to play 1 stock to hard play this and then do the thing if you absolutely needed to.
Oh yeah. Also, but yeah, there's crazy. Okay. I think we're good.
What did I rate the other one? Hold on. What did I rate the other one? Oh, yeah. Where did that card go?
Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing I can really say.
Oh, there it is. No, this card's way better than that. Yeah. Damn.
Yeah. He's just one of those. Yeah, he's one of the protagonists of Guitar Hero 3. That's all I can really say.
He's one of the protagonists of all time.
Yep.
He is a man. Yep. It's shaggy man. Okay. Next man. This is David Lee Roth in his early years. 1,000 power for each of the other Guitar Hero characters. When you direct attacks, reveal top card of your deck if it's a Guitar Hero character. Add it to your hand, and he is a standby target again.
Yep.
2/2 soul.
I based this off of Spider-Man in Volume 2, the 2/2.
Oh, okay.
Right on.
Yeah. This is another pack filler of like, I'm kind of like at the end of making the set, so I was like, you know what, just throw in something.
I don't know that you actually play this in any standby deck, but it's a card for sure.
Yeah. I mean, based on what I've been playing with the Spider-Man deck, like the card's pretty decent. Like it's not bad. Like it's just, big guy you sit on, and then if you're able to direct attack, you're able to not only deal more damage, but you also get to potentially get to plus in hand.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's something.
For because this only gets up to 4 standby, you probably don't ever like pick this up as a target. If it was like a 2/1 that either had the 2 soul or didn't have the 2 soul, just sat a little smaller, you might actually consider it. But as it is, yeah. Okay. Roll
my turn.
Along. Yeah, you get to read him.
Oh, thank you. I said every card in this set is my favorite. This one's definitely a top 5 for me. So this is Eddie Van Halen, legendary guitarist from a legendary band. He's even got the Van Halen guitar. Oh my God, he's so cool.
Yeah.
With the V-neck shirt. All right, so when he's placed on stage from hand, if you have the color orange, you get to burn your opponent for 1. You can get the color orange in a couple ways. The Matty Cans gets orange if you have another character. The Slash gets orange if you play his Climax combo, but really you want a character that already has orange on stage. The Star Power event can let you choose a character to give it orange, and then you can play this guy and burn 1 that way. The other effect is if you have a climax in your climax area when he attacks and the color orange on your stage. If you do, you can ditch 2 and then start the eruption. With this Start the Eruption, it's a replay effect, which is basically the Aang Climax combo from Avatar. So you mill 4, and then if the total number of cards you revealed is 2 or more, you shuffle back 2 cards to your opponent's waiting room. If there's 3 or more, you then burn them for 3, and if there's 4 or more, you put the top card of their deck into their clock. So it's effectively a Climax combo that is generic with any Climax, but you have to have orange on your stage to resolve the effects. What do you think, JB?
Okay. I don't even know.
It's pretty nutty. I'll say that.
On a play, deal 1 with color orange condition. That's your level 3 effect. So Desmond has committed a little bit of a faux pas with the way this effect has been written in conjunction with the other effect on this card. Basically, these are 2 different conditions being treated as the same sort of thing. This first effect is a 1k level 3 effect because it's essentially asking you for you to have another orange character. There's not a way for you to get the Van Halen man orange by the time he would be resolving this effect. So it's a 1k level 3 effect equivalent to the Jotaro promo. This next bit that we're going to be talking about, I assume the conditions should be the same, but they wouldn't be because by the time you're firing this effect, he could be the character with orange on your stage, which changes it from a 1.5 modifier to potentially a 1.25 modifier or something along those lines because it is basically condition. But because he can fulfill the condition himself, it wouldn't be the same as saying another character that meets the requirement. So things are going to get really messy. But we know for a fact that that first effect is 1k, and whatever the combo is to match this power line, it needs to be 500. Keep that in mind. I literally had this talk with Ron Elm, like not quite 24 hours ago, about turning combos into off finisher effects. So you have to have a climax in play. You just take off the name requirement instead of pay 1, pitch 1, which the Aang is. In fact, he is he's pay 1, pitch 1 with full board of Avatar.
Yep.
You can't just have pitch 2 to get that effect as a generic climax pseudo combo, right? And having the color orange on your stage, like we'd have to figure out what modifier that is because it would match the same for the auto. So like it can't just if it's just costing hand, it needs to either cost like traded characters or like specific colors or something, or you need to have like some amount of stock cost on it as well, or maybe some like number of characters on stage when you do the attack either as well. So it's not quite on budget. Aang combo, as is known, like Avatar had this combo on release, and it was definitely a mixed bag when playing it. You know, you had people who are building up to it, building this 4-color madness list, and then you had the other people like who were like, you know, wait, hold on, maybe we can cook up something with like Azula standby or whatever, which is ultimately what the meta deck became because the people who labbed it out kind of into infinity and realized it was the most broken thing the set could do. The Aang was like, if you're not trying to be a complete degenerate, you'd play that instead. And it had some success, but again, color variability kind of can kick your ass. Man.
And then you had the gremlins like me that were just playing 12 standby.
Yeah, 12 standby was also definitely a thing people did. Man, like, even if this isn't like budgeted right, it's cool, but it's almost like you would you'd prioritize almost like just having it just so that you could get the burn one on it. I don't fucking know.
So I don't either, but I will tell you what I do know. I have tried to play this card in every deck that I've built so far, except for Bar Pants, because this card needed orange, and I couldn't find a way to get orange in the Bar Pants deck. I now know that the Matty Cans can get orange very easily.
Yeah.
So if I was gonna tweak my list where I played Tom Morello, I would just put the Matty in there, and then I'd be fine. But yeah, as written, ditch 2 to like probably shuffle back 2 and then maybe burn 3 after is super efficient. It's a really good third lane to play with the slash. But as you established, it's probably undercosted for what it's doing. But notably, this is one of the only off finishers in the set.
Yeah.
The other one's like a generic restander, which is kind of good, but like the potential ceiling on the Eddie is what makes me want to play to it more. There's also a card we'll get to in a couple slides. It's a level 0 that says if you're level 3 or higher, you can just sack it to play the Eddie for free. So that saves you 2 stock that you can then use to fund your slashes. So like what you could do is like if you have 6 stock, you could play 2 slashes and an Eddie, or you could pay 4, play 2 slashes, brainstorm twice, maybe get a Rico, and then trade 2 cards out to get the Eddie, and then summon this Eddie for free off that. And then you, because you brainstormed, you have hand now to pay for the Eddie effect. Again, this is probably undercosted for what it is. So if you're playing this, you really do have to think about how are you holding the cost and funding this, right?
Yeah.
But on the other hand, he can combo with any climax.
Yeah.
So if you're playing like, I don't know, a warrior pile, like maybe you're playing the Midori or not the Midori, the Shirley level 1 combo with like the warrior transformation that's off of like a pants, and you're like playing the Shirleys and you're playing the Lars as just other cards that can combo off of it. Like, you don't need the Austin. You could just play this at level 3 as your finishing combo, and then just pray to God that you hit the 4 colors, you know. But like overall, this card, like in the slash deck, triple slash usually is enough to kill somebody. In other decks, I feel like you would rather have triple of your finisher than try to play this, but you can try to play to it. Sometimes you get to burn one on play, which is nice, but also the Axle can just burn one on play when you resonate the Axle Brainstorm. I think this is a cool card. Definitely think it's cool. I don't even think it's that broken. Like when I read this, I was like, really? You're just putting the Avatar Climax combo on this? But like in playtesting, it's not nearly as broken as it sounds. Obviously, the cost should probably be higher, but it ends up being like around here. It's not even like super ubiquitous. Like this is a set where you might not even play an off finisher. You might just play a bunch of early play healers until you're ready to kill your opponent, you know?
Yeah.
Um
Maybe.
so those are my thoughts
Yeah.
on this. This card is
Yeah.
great though. Like you remember I was gushing about the slash? Like this card gushing.
Yeah.
Great job with this one. I like that his replay is Start the Eruption. That's very flavorful for Van Halen.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's sick.
Yeah, I mean, Eruption is the most, probably easily the most iconic solo that he's done, and it's a banger. It's anybody that's a Van Halen fan, it's an absolute classic.
Yeah. This card really gets me going, you know?
Yeah.
It's really
yeah.
got me now.
Well, yeah. No, I can definitely see the argument of kind of increasing the cost just because of because we definitely know like now, considering that Avatar's been out for quite a while now, but like at least like a year and some change. We definitely seen firsthand how good the Aang is, especially in conjunction with the guitar, letting him being able to mill 5 instead of 4, and then being able to increase his efficiency and trying to consistently hit out the four colors. But yeah, I could definitely see the argument.
Can this mill an extra card?
No, the Aang does.
That's at least that's also at least
like right, the Katara. I forgot. Yeah, okay, sorry.
Katara let's Aang mill 5 instead of 4, but I made it so that the Eddie can only mill 4 because I figured it'd be a little bit too good to make it that he can mill 5.
Yeah,
especially since he's technically an off finisher.
Yeah,
but figured with a lot of the guitar legends, with between Slash, and Eddie Van Halen. And I almost said Demigod of Rock, but he's a fictional character. But anyways, yeah, I figured just kind of like it would be on brand to kind of give them something that's pretty pushed to some extent. But yeah, I could definitely consider the fact that like maybe kind of increase the cost a bit to just make it a little bit more balanced versus just like a very low cost to get an Aang finisher effect, which is again, as we mentioned, that like it's pretty good and efficient in of its own.
yeah.
All right.
Next. All right, here we go. Lu human form. So this is how Lu looks like when he basically is on like out and about, not in his devil form. and he's trying to trick people to get to basically signing contracts with him to work for him and all that. Basically, he is the sole bad guy assist from Guilty Gear, where he gives hexproof assist. So basically, characters in front get hexproof, and then if you hit a soul trigger, if one of your characters triggers a soul trigger, then basically give one of your Guitar Hero characters a 1500 power until end of turn. I felt like this kind of card was pretty on brand for Lou, so that's kind of why I included this card.
I don't know.
You know,
It's the Vanquish Soul catchphrase.
jeez.
I don't remember how highly people rated this card when Guilty Gear came out. In like the RAM deck it's played. I haven't found space for this in any of my decks yet because I haven't needed hexproof, but in theory there's so many early plays that you would probably want to try playing this if you had space in your backstage for it. It's red. There's a Brainstormer that's red, but there's also a Brainstorm that's yellow. So like if you're not playing the Judy, this card becomes a lot more playable because it's more colors on stage.
Yeah.
If you are playing the Judy, I think it's harder to justify playing this, but you could still do it.
Like in terms of deck building, you're probably more inclined to. I think you're probably more inclined to play this if you're actually playing the Lou, just because like you have the ability to early play him with the 2/1. So like having him just assures that you're not going to get cooked by a anti-change if you wanted to like do this combo at level 2.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't think of that. That's actually true. This is like the perfect card to play in the Lou deck,
which is fitting. Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's other like again, I keep bringing it up, but in blue there's 2 cards in particular that you'd want to play in your backstage depending on what kind of deck you're playing, and in theory those cards would take up the same back row slot this card would, so it's not quite as playable, but in the decks that play it, my god, this card goes so hard.
All right. Next
All
up.
right.
All right. So this is Lou. He's unimpressed. He's the power that we talked about. When this card attacks, you may choose one of your other characters, put it into your stock. He has a soul trigger.
Yep.
Which
I did that on purpose.
Yeah, we talked about like him needing soul trigger, so have a card with some extra.
It's basically just this and the counter and a couple of slides that have the extra soul triggers.
Yeah, and counter is definitely tracks to give extra soul triggers. Okay, hold on. Attack. I need to double check the power. It's a common.
Right.
What rarity is the power? Also a common?
Yeah, also a common.
I don't think you can put this strictly better power as a common.
Yeah, can I actually go off a minute, JB?
Please do.
All right, here's the deal. This card is like kind of good. You might play it in a couple decks or whatever, right? You know, like send cards to stock, right? And I mentioned earlier in the same recording that like, you know, if you're playing the Steve and Joe, that's a card you can just send to your stock with this, right?
Yep.
You know how this set has Eddie that we just talked about? Eddie is red. And so you're going to need cards in your deck that can be red so you can play the Eddie, right? My first brew of this deck, I can send you the picture if you want for the video, JB, but I was playing 3 Steve and Joe, 3 of the Judy Brainstorm, 1 of the Lou Climax Swap, and then 1 Eddie. And that was all the red I was and then was I playing the Judy early play in this? I forget. I guess I wasn't. But in theory, you could play the Judy early play in this too. So it was only like 8 red cards. And what I realized was if I had changed my early play package to play the Axel, I could have been playing more yellow cards. And I would still need some red so I could try to get the Eddie to go off, right? Not because I needed to fulfill the color requirement, but because I wanted to make sure I had enough red in the deck. And what I realized was if you're playing the Kurt Cobain, if you field 2 Kurt, you're only going to get to JC one of them, right? And if you don't have stock, this card can just punt one of the Kurts over to your stock. The Midori, you can have it die, but if you don't want to do the effect, you can also just use this card to send the Midori to stock. And as I said, the Steve and Joe are like the perfect targets to send to stock. There's just a bunch of really, really low power cards in this set that you can just have swing into a lane and have this push over to stock. And you might say, well, Chainsaw Man's already doing that, and you'd be right. But this card has a soul trigger on it, which means that regardless of what deck you're playing, if you need red, you can just play a 3-2 split of 3 of Steve and Joe and 2 of this, and you just have enough red to do things. And because this card has a soul trigger, there's no downside to putting it in your deck because it's just more damage.
Yeah.
Like,
And also it helps you hit the.
I think the last version of this deck I played against Desmond, I played 2 of this just because it was red and I was playing Tom Morello, and I needed the red to hit his combo effect. But like, you might just play 2, 3, or 4 of this even in whatever deck you can, because like your other characters are good. You could field 2 of this, right?
Yeah.
And one of them is going to lose its lane. The other one just sends it away to stock. And they're both soul triggers, so if you trigger them later, you don't care. If you're playing choice, you can just target this and send it to stock or add it back to hand. Like, I might be crazy. It might need more testing, but like right now, I think this is like an A actually. This like low key might be one of the best zeros in the set because it can just freely get you stock. You know?
There's a reason people gassed up the power as much as they did, because the card is super like good for getting you stuck early game, and also just like if you like find yourself in a situation where your opponent just has a board you can't go over, it's like, all right, cool, well I have one of these, so smack her down, like crash whatever, get some kind of on reverse effect or whatever, maybe like, you know, attack with the power, like you could like turn like a bomb into stock, you turn into, you know, like anything just becomes a free stock out of it.
Yep.
It's just
The other thing you can do with this is if you're completely tapped out, you could like swing with one of your slashes, right? And then do his thing, and then swing with this to put that slash into your stock to pay for the second one if you needed to. Or like better yet, the demigod, right? If you know that you're only going to win one lane of demigod, this card can get you the second stock to make sure the second demigod resolves.
yeah.
There are some serious implications of this.
Yeah, the things you can't do it with are just things that need like a full board.
And again, it's not like the card itself is like great or whatever. It's the fact that it has a soul trigger, which makes it more playable in decks that just need red to like do what they're going to do. Like,
Yeah.
there's so many good red cards you could try to play to. Like the Judy Brainstorm is fine, but like you're already playing Steve and Joe. There's a climax swap, so you don't need to over commit on slots. You don't need to play the Carlos Santana drop salvage. You don't need to play any of the Lou cards. You can just play this guy because he has soul triggers, and it just puts more damage in your deck. It's like, you know how like in Avatar you would play 4 of the Avatar state in and like 4 of the Aang. It's the salami, like the mill through the colors, right? You would just play 4 of both of those cards in your bar standby deck because they were the other colors. And again, the Avatar state was just more damage. The salami was just a card that got you deck speed and sometimes would plus you, right? Similar idea here. It's just a card that can get you more colors to help you with your color checking effects, and then it just is a soul trigger. It can get you stock. Poggers is all I have to say.
Fucker.
And again, I might be overhyping this card, but I've played like one game of this and I realized, wait, shit, this is actually so good. Again, not because of the actual effect itself, but because of how it warps deck building for this set. Like, I think that's where this is going to come out on top over some other zeros you might see. Like, there's no reason to play the Carlos Santana because you already have a Rico. And like, if you need more red, you would just slam this. So why would you ever, you know?
No,
Yeah.
this is play Chainsaw Man.
Yeah. At some
Oh,
point, you
man.
can just make a Chainsaw Man level 0 lineup in this set.
Absolutely, you can. Yeah.
You have a better Kobeni. Seriously, you have a better Kobeni that you're probably playing 3 copies of. You have a Futaba Field Plus. You have the Power Ricky. You have this, and you have the like whatever climax swap you want. And then on top of that, you also get to play Mio Drop Search and Aqua Ricky because you're insane. Like, why did you put those cards in your set?
Imagine
Oh,
me
man.
mixing.
Imagine. God. All right, we're in the home stretch. We can do this. We have the power.
All right. This is the Eddie early years. I already talked about this. He can sack himself to play the Eddie for free. Do you mind if I just read this card, the Lars last straw?
Oh, sure.
Actually, let's rate
Wait.
the Eddie first.
Yeah.
It's
Wait a minute. Is this? You can't just do that stocklessly, can you?
sack to summon guy from waiting room if you're level 3 or higher.
Yeah, because like I know for like if you do it at like level 2, it's like CX play. You also need like cost if your level is 0. You really just can. Okay, thank you, Aki Rose. All right. Summer Splash, Aki Rose, 1k effect on top of a on-play pitch climax salvage traded character.
Well, I guess to be fair, the Aki lets you play the Aki from hand, right?
Right, yeah, this is from Waiting Room. Okay, so this isn't right
Yeah.
then.
It's close though.
If
It's
it,
definitely close.
you could have it pay like 1, and I think you're fine.
Or just have it sack itself to play the Eddie from hand. That's also fine because you're still playing it for free.
True. One of the two.
Like at least we know the Aki Rose effect actually exists. You know.
Yeah, this is a just make it from hand and all this sorted. All right. Now feel free to talk about the Lars man.
All right.
Uh-huh.
If we need to talk about the Lars man much.
Yeah. It's a 3500 level 0. You can't play events or backups from your hand, and the character facing it cannot move.
Yep, that's a pack filler card.
Yeah.
I think I like the Johnny from Yellow better because it sits bigger.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on.
Yeah.
We don't have to like read this, but
It's Haley Williams, you guys. She's a queen. We stand a queen.
we put Kobeni back up on the queen.
Yeah. I mean, I do like that Kobeni counter a lot, so I figured to start in this set.
Sometimes it really is all it takes when it comes to set design. Just I want to play these profiles together. Let me cook.
Yeah.
That's what you get.
But how did she get here?
I don't know. It's like probably somewhere in the no, it's like here.
Damn, really? The Kobeni counter? Jeez, that's crazy.
Oh, or your opponent's deck. Oh, you know what? Actually, that's
it literally is
probably
Kobeni
Yeah,
counter.
I was about to say, like, I don't know that
All right.
Kobeni counter comes in clutch sometimes.
Yeah, okay. I don't like it, but like it's fine. It's actually playable.
Especially in a set where your combos are like mill combos. So like you back up something on the turn before you go to do slash. That may be a thing. Anyway. Alright. Last character. This is Sinister Smile. Your soul is mine. 2-1, when climax play, you can send it to stock to choose a lewd double form in your hand, put on stage winning in this. So this one, okay. So this one is from hand. It's on CX play. It is only 6,000 power.
Yeah. So this is based off of in Gurn. There's a Gurn Logon combo. It's the Yomako combo.
Okay, Yomako.
Yeah, basically that's Yoko as a teacher, basically.
Right.
Because
okay.
it's basically the same. Well, not the exact same, but like the idea of it's pretty much the same in terms of the 2-1. Basically, you put it in stock and then change it into the well, in the Gurren Lagann's case it's a 2-2, but in Guitar Hero it's going to be the Lu finisher.
Oh god. Oh, this is madness. Okay. What?
So the Yomako gives all other characters cancel burn 1 for her cost. That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Essentially, the Yomako makes it easier to pay for her condition.
Yeah. Okay. So, I put a card in another set that went to stock as part of his change effect. I'm trying to wrap my head around why this being a climax combo and going to stock as part of the climax combo is 2,500 power. I feel like they just went hard on the Gurren Lagann card for some reason. This card is real, it exists. It by itself is on budget. The fact that it targets a level 3 would maybe in theory be a little weird, but
You know what I don't like? So this card says when you play the climax, you pay the cost. If you do, choose a Lu Devil form in your hand and put it on stage. So it doesn't say choose up to 1 Lu Devil form in your hand. Because, like, in theory, what you could do is just, like, if you have these sitting around, because this card doesn't have to be in your center stage. You could just have these in your backstage that you stood by in at level 1. And then,
wait.
like, when you play the stock slow, you can just have them run to your stock.
This is wrong. You know why this is wrong? I just realized this is wrong. Fucking the Yomako plays from Waiting Room, dog.
Oh shit. Whoops.
So that's why it summons a level 2. This summoning a level 3, maybe that justifies it being in hand, but it wouldn't cost this much power. Okay, problem solved.
Got it.
But yeah, the fact that it requires, because it summons from waiting room, that's why it also specifies having one. I think because it goes from hand, you would be able to just say choose up to one, because hand is a hidden zone, right? Like a hidden knowledge zone. So I
Yeah.
think that would be fine, and it would give you that extra use case for the card.
Because it doesn't say up to one, you like have to pay the cost and then summon it. If it was up to one, you could stand by this in at level 1, and then at level 2, when you play the climax, you could just send this away to stock for free and then not play anything.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to do this in your center stage because you don't want to lose the attack. But if it's in your backstage, it can just run away from your backstage because it doesn't say this has to be in center stage to resolve the climax combo.
Yep.
So you could just do that to get free stock. It's obviously that's like such a niche case.
It would be so good though.
Yeah. This card getting you stock is nice. It's like the Lou is good. The fact that this lets you early play it is good. The fact that it doesn't cost anything to early play it, it just gets you free stock, which lets you then play into the Lou combo is good. There's not really a lot to say about this other than it's just straight good.
Yep.
God, it is so funny that this card is like, this card is under spec, but it just yeah, but all right. Last card.
I'm gonna read this one, but I want Desmond to give us the lore on it. So
Yeah. Okay.
it's Rush's 2112. You can put up to 7 cards with the same card name as this card in your deck. Just a reminder, the legendary guitar gets -1 cost for each number of this in your memory. So you choose one of the following effects and perform it. You can either look at up to 4, choose the guitar hero, character, or event, reveal it, put it into your hand, put the rest of the waiting room. Or you can declare deck or waiting room, search the zone you declared for the legendary guitar, reveal it, and add it into your hand. So, how do I want to say this? I guess give us the lore dump first, and then I'll go into it.
Yep. Okay. So this one's gonna be a whopper because there's definitely a lot to this in terms of lore with the Warriors of Rock. So basically, Rush's 2112 is the song that you have to play in order to get the legendary guitar. So this is about halfway into the story. So basically, so Rush's 2112 is broken up into 7 parts.
It's a 21-minute song with like 7 movements.
Correct. Yes. So there's 7 parts to it, and basically, like in terms in the context of the story, there's like 7 trials that you have to face and overcome in order to be considered worthy to hold the legendary guitar. So pretty much, this is played within the game, and you play each part. So basically, you have the 7 copies of 2112, and as you play a copy of it, it goes into memory. And as you put it in memory, those 2112 events that go to memory are basically paying for the legendary guitar to make it easier to pay for costs.
In the 2112 song, which I think is really cool that they incorporated it, the song is actually about a guy who lives in the future, in a future where like music is outlawed. And so he actually finds a guitar, learns how to play it, and then goes before the priests that control everything and tries to show them his music. They basically destroy the guitar. And so the guy walks away dejected. He has a dream and dreams about like what a world would be like if it wasn't ruled that way. And then he decides basically that life isn't worth living, and so he kills himself. But then at the end, it's actually kind of his act of suicide actually inspires the Solar Federation to come back and take over the planet from like these evil guys. It sounds complicated, but the point is like the event getting you a chance to get the guitar, I think is a good flavor. And yeah, getting to play 7 copies refers to like 7 movements, which is like the 7 different stages you have to complete in the story. I think I inspired you to make this card, right? So
Yeah.
I asked if you were going to. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is like my one contribution to this set, so I'm a little biased, but yeah, I like this card. I love 2112. I love that Rush has like a thing in this custom set because weirdly there are playable Rush songs in like every Guitar Hero and Rock Band game, but like Rush never shows up anywhere except for like this. So I'm happy that this is in here. I'm just gonna give it a straight B. I haven't actually played this yet, but in theory, I'm sure JB's going to want to talk about it. In theory, getting 7 copies of an event that can go to memory and like be a filter is potentially problematic, but like it's so cool. I like it a lot. All right, JB, take it away.
Okay. So, fuck, dog. All right. So the 1-0, like, let's just take this as a starting point. Gamers is 1-0 check 4 for traded character, right?
Yep.
So this is pay a stock, check 4 for traded character or event, or grab a name from either deck or waiting room, and it goes to memory by itself. God. I feel like this needs some kind of character requirement on it. It does, like, it's gonna be easy enough to fulfill, but I feel like this should say, like, if you have one or less character, like warrior trait characters, you cannot play this.
I could probably see that because particularly when the legendary guitar challenge happens when you play 2112, by the time when you get to that part of the story, you have 4 of the warriors actually already assembled together to play the challenge. So because the ones that particularly go to the ones that basically are part of the challenge are Johnny, Judy, Austin,
Echo.
and not Pandora. What's her name? Echo.
Echo?
Tutla.
Okay.
Yeah. Those are the 4 warriors that go to the challenge.
Yeah, I think because obviously not every one of these, not every one of the warriors has like warrior trait cards you'd super want to be playing in a deck with this. So I think if you set it to like just needing like 2 or more on stage, I think you're good. And at that point, I think this card is okay. It's one of those things where it's like it sends itself some memory and then it has all this other stuff. Also, an event that grabs other events is hard to find an example of because they don't tend to do it. I think custom creators do it much more often than Bushi would ever consider doing it themselves. It's kind of that issue of like, like find a spell card that gets you a spell card that gets you a spell card, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tricky when you're getting a specific like. I get what you're saying about like the top 4 for a character or an event. Like you probably shouldn't have an event that can search itself because like if you have all the stock, you can just go 2112 and a 2112 and a 2112 and just shoot all 7 straight to memory. Like in theory, you could just not play the guitar and just have 7 of this over the course of the game that you just get free memory compression. And if you manage to get 2 or 3 of the Kurt Cobains over there, that's like 10 cards of compression, without really doing anything. I do like that this gets you just the guitar. Like, I think that second effect is fine. I haven't tested this yet, is the main thing. I know that when we were discussing the Haruhi card,
Endless 8.
What is it called?
Endless
Endless
8.
8. Yeah, Endless 8. I basically said that's about how bad an event can be to play 8 copies of it. Endless 8 is just a counter that gives 1k power for each Endless 8 in your memory. This is nice because it's at least playable, but getting to play like 7 of this might be too much. I don't know. Like if you could play 7 anti-magic masks, would you?
If you could, when you would you?
You might, yeah.
Some people might. It's one of those things.
I mean,
like the stock cost really does kind of like balance it out. It's like can you play a deck that is lean enough on stock in other places? And like with the fact that this set has like power in it, it opens up it up a little bit more. You can just throw away a character that you don't need and then just pay for a rush that way.
When Yue Pang built Adventure Time, he played at a deck that was similar, where he played 4 of the sword events that went to memory. I think 2 or 3 Remember You, 4 Wildberry Princess, and then 4 Slime Princess. And the Slime Princess was a coin flip go to memory, but every single other one of those cards was a 1 cost, either event or a character that went to memory. And he played 8 choice, so he had a way to get the stock. But the downside of playing that build was like, if you didn't get your memory going early and you didn't cancel, you were just boned. Like you really had to crutch on all those memory cards to not die because you still needed to find a way to field 2 Finn and Jake and kill your opponent, and that cost you at least 5 stock at level 3. So it's tricky, but it can be done. And this set has way more efficient finishers than Finn and Jake. Like if you could find a way to play this with the Slash or the Tom Morello and still kill your opponent, like you might do that just to get the 9 to 10 memory. You know, I don't
Yeah.
know.
If this
It
card
needs
didn't,
testing, but
if this card
yeah.
didn't grab events, it would be perfectly on spec. I think that is the defining the factor of it. Just this card grabs events, so it needs some kind of requirement on it. Without that, I'm looking through like explosion counter is just like it's a backup, and also it's either put itself in memory or like make it a marker under something, which I think would balance out to the searching for the specific name. And because like the only other thing this is like would be hitting off of, like in that deck that's playing that, it's either this or the legendary guitar. So you could maybe hypothetically take off the or an event, just say the name of this card, and then have the legendary guitar like be a whiff on the normal grab, but you could have the effect specifically grab for it for search deck or waiting room. And that would put it on spec without a character requirement, I think, while still giving you like the synergies you're looking for with it.
All right, well,
That's red.
that's it for red.
Oh man. Tune in next time.
Absalom.
What? Is that part of the song?
Not this song, but yeah, it's another Rush song. It just
Okay.
ends Absalom.
That's cursed. All right. Tune in next time for blue. Till then, bye ya.
Bye bye.
Yoink.